You are a go-getter. You have places to be and things to do, but you get stuck in traffic. Now that's big city, big problem. Like, how much time and money have traffic jams taken from you? Did you know you'll spend about a week in traffic every year? Now, that time plus money equals a lot of life wasted, and everybody's getting stuck in traffic, including you, police, emergency services. This is a global problem. Our vision, flying cars for all. Hi, I'm Sharon Peters, the urban astronaut, CEO and founder of Nanco Aero, and we are going to get you up and out the traffic and into your own lane. Now, that traffic plus Houston Spaceport shows that it's time for flying cars. NASA, DoD, Uber are all looking for flying cars, and you should too. Take back your life. Now, we make urban air vehicles, hybrid electric, vertical takeoff and landing type aircraft. So join Nanco Aero, the future of space in the making. And if you're still confused on how we really plan to bring flying cars to market, well, let's look at the market of $60 trillion in total. But we're going to carve out our slice of $350 million for year 6. And the first 100 vehicles for $150 million in year 4 is our major milestone. The current state of urban air mobility is ready for takeoff. The FAA is developing a better certification process for these vehicles. The airspace and market already exist. For example, gyrocopters are already flying legally. We're simply bringing a much better vehicle to the airspace. Now, meet George Jetson, our prime target for flying cars. Board member of an aircraft association, fleet director, or an aircraft broker. In terms of our business model, B2B, he's the influencer and decision maker in these different sectors, starting with emergency services. We offer a sleek, modern urban air vehicle about the size of an SUV, carries 4 passengers, but just imagine lifting straight up from your station, bypassing all traffic and obstacles, and landing at your destination safely and comfortably. Our path to producing these vehicles is a 5-year plan developing the subsystems. These subsystems provide extra opportunity, and with that opportunity, we de-risk and hedge our bets on the overall project. The current competition do not provide the combination of benefits that we have. From power generation to pilot interface, we offer more capabilities to meet passenger acceptance criteria. And this is how we'll lead the VTOL industry. We've built small-scale prototypes and proof of concepts. We've launched our Space City Flight Club, and we've built an urban air simulator to fly Digital Houston right now. And I couldn't do any of this without an excellent team of engineers, aviation robotics professionals, and our community is growing. We are in the Ion Aerospace Accelerator, and they have truly accelerated us, and here we are now. Be the first in flight. We're looking for 100 future pilots for our simulator, so sign up at nanco.aero. We're also looking for corporate and community partners for mutual support. And most of all, it will take about $8.25 million to build the first 10 vehicles. But a good step in that direction will cost about $1.65 million. Either way, we can offer a 24% ROI in 4 years. We are Nanco Aero, the future of space in the making. Here at the first Young Drone Olympics held down in Houston.
are here at the Outdoor Solar Classroom with our friends, South Union CDC, holding the first Drone Olympics. A few young kids in our STEM program have learned how to fly some drones, and now they're going to put their skills to the test, flying through a few obstacles. We need an official, a dedicated drone arena space in Houston to support the drone community. And that's what we're here advocating for. So, of course, teaching the young of the new industry, new technologies coming, but we are advocating for an official space to house and move this industry along. So we'll love your support and follow along.
Looks like we're live. Are we live? I can't see. Yes, we're live. Uh-oh, I wasn't sure, people. I'm sorry. Welcome. Happy Fly Friday. Once again, Sharon Cutter Smooth EP Digital with New Age Nerds, Nanko, Arrow. Sorry, please excuse my tardiness, but you know how it is when you actually experience traffic. The very thing that we are trying to defeat is still trying to defeat us. But we are here. We are here. We have gotten past it. Now to get over it. Welcome to another Fly Friday 15, in which I, Sharon Cutter Smooth VP Digital, are bringing the newest, latest information on the urban air vehicle industry, unmanned UAS, right? eVTOLs, flying cars, whatever you call them, that industry is what we are going to talk about today. And starting in with what is new is, well, flying car races, right? Well, there are some out there in which the the industry, some of the makers, some of the inventors, right, want to bring about this industry in terms of I put it like this, an example: the automobile industry. It was invented, basic vehicles, but what really pushed the technology to the limits of advancement was races. No, yes, there was the bootleg races, which started the NASCAR and drag racing or what have you, but racing, competition is what drove the innovation of the automobile industry. And for the urban air vehicle industry, there are a few people out there advocating for the same thing, meaning that in order to drive the innovation and technology of the urban air vehicle industry, competition is absolutely needed. Putting one vehicle against the next, and may the best pilot win, may the best vehicle win. And I'm all for it. I want to race. We are going to race. And one of the few people doing it, you've probably seen them, Airspeeder, aka Aluda. Let's go ahead and look at one of those footages if we can. Bring up that first link, first YouTube video, in which Airspeeder, Aluda, is bringing about a they're calling it the EXA series first flight. So for this year, the first race in which they're only racing each other, or when they say each other, they got two of their own vehicles, and their own vehicles are going to race each other. It's not even a real race amongst other industry competitors. But best believe in these coming years, as that race builds, Namco Aero, we are here to dominate. I accept that challenge. Yes, sir. And with that in mind, right, if you could play the video, you will see how these vehicles would work, right? Got a nice little racer, one person, single person racer, right? Now, there are a lot of unknowns to this race, right? What's the distance? Where's the track going to be, right? For this first year, they are going to only do unmanned racing, meaning there's no pilot for this year, or I guess until they prove out their own technology. It's crazy. They want to race, but they are yet confident in putting a human in their vehicle. I wonder why. If you've listened or followed me for a few weeks now, you've probably heard me not really gripe, but bring up or emphasize the importance of safety. And that vehicle is definitely violating a few of our safety rules. So crashing, I most definitely see on those vehicles. That's why I'm full on willing to put our vehicle up against that, right? If they get too close to anything, might be a bad situation. Things to think about when you are going to buy or, I guess, support these flying car races. So that's on the air vehicle flying car races. So moving on to what is new, or let's say what's to know when buying flying cars. If you're interested in buying a flying car specifically for racing, right? And there's quite a few flying cars out there, right? There are, there's Uber Elevate, Archer, Ehong, right? Joby. We'll take Joby for an example, in which they are not a racing vehicle. So there's urban air vehicles, eVTOLs, coming out for air taxis, carrying packages, or just carrying people, or racing, or emergency services. See how these vehicles can be used in so many things, and they can be so versatile. So what are you really looking for in these urban air vehicles? And this week, we're going to focus on racing. So if you are into racing drones, the future of it will be racing flying cars, urban air vehicles, right? Who is it? Red Bull. Red Bull does the little flying race, right? I can't remember the name of the race, but when I think about flying car races, I do think about that, right? Oh, some of those planes can get so agile, right? But they still need a runway. They can't take off vertically. So they still have limitations, but once they're in the air, flying cars need to be just as agile, right? Especially if you want to race. We just saw the clip of the EXA series racing. Look like they're just going around a straight track. Okay, that may be an easy race. That's okay. But an air race, right? An aerospace race, a real race, has loops, has turns. It's not just 1-0 round around like the Indy 500. That's 19th century stuff. 22nd century, yeah, there's going to be loop-de-loops all around, right? So when you go to race or you need a vehicle for that race, well, you're going to want to choose one with some speed. One, right? That's with every race. You're going to need something with some agility, right? And some endurance. Now, those three things are definitely going to open up ranges of types of race, because speed could be a race just straightforward, drag racing for urban air vehicles. It could be, like the loop-de-loop Indy 500 type thing. Whoever can last the longest and go the fastest pretty much wins, right? So speed and endurance, but no agility really. But if you tie in the agility,
almost like how there are drone races in which there are obstacle courses, which you need to apply speed and power with agility. Not so much endurance because drones don't really fly that far. So when these future air vehicles, right, with batteries, they will be limited on endurance. They won't be able to fly that long. You might have to do a few pit stops, and whether that's allowed or not. So the rules for these races are still unknown, right? This their first practice race coming out this fall, this season, 2021. So nobody knows really how these races are going to go. Hence why when you're out shopping for your flying car, look for those features. How fast does it go? 80 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. Some jet airplanes, 300 miles an hour to 500 miles an hour, right? So can that vehicle go that fast? And if it can go that fast, how long can it sustain that power? Meaning endurance. Battery powers are going to be limited. You can go 100 miles an hour for 5 minutes. Would you want that vehicle? Or like us, hybrid. We can go the distance, 100 miles, 100 miles at 150 miles an hour. Now that is something. That's what you want to look for in your flying car when it comes to races. Now, agility, well, it depends on the type of vehicle, right? What I do know, exposed blades versus ducted fans, there's a difference in agility. Now, if you've ever watched drones cut through the air, right, that is the exposed blades. Ducted fan, a lot smoother, safer, smoother ride. Still can get up to speed, but that's the difference in agility. Now, that's what I have for what to know when buying flying cars on this segment. I hope you take those into consideration when you are going to buy your next racing flying car, right? Look for us in these coming years. We will definitely point you in a good direction on the types of features. So keep that in mind. And with that in mind, let's look into who is flying now. Well, there's a lot. And I want to, in this racing aspect with who's flying now, I'm going to go ahead and point again to the transport up, the hangar. If we could get that link up for number 2, we want to pull that up on who's flying now. Because yes, there is Airspeeder. Airspeeder is the only official flying car racer at the moment. Yes, there are some other makers, right? There's some other manufacturers of these urban air vehicles, but they're not racing vehicles. So who else is in this race? I've been waiting and looking and waiting to see who else is in this race. I've been waiting to see when is this race going to happen, because Airspeeder for a long time have said, yes, they want to race. But, they're just coming out, right? But who else is racing? Well, nobody. They're the only ones. So you'll see Skyless Airspeeder. They're trying. That's a conceptual company, still not out really. So there's a lot of other companies in the air hangar. They're not racing. They're still conceptual. Some have not even built their vehicles, let alone put a pilot on there. But the ones who have flown and have put a pilot, well, they are not racing. So see some opportunity out there for if you guys want to race or put something together to race. Obviously, a race takes multiple players, multiple competitors. NASCAR, at least 50 vehicles. They got numbers on the vehicles, 1 through 100 at least. I've seen all kinds of numbers out there. A lot of people are racing. The same thing will apply to that. And you'll see a whole lot more. There's going to be a whole lot more racers in the future. And that's what I have for you next in terms of what is coming. Because we in the industry just cannot allow Airspeeder or Aluda to own the airspace, right? As a racer, I want to race. We want to race. So if you want to race and we all want to race, then let's get this race started. Yes, indeed. I like that. Look at that. I mean, granted, their vehicle, we'll see how that goes. It's just a big drone. Will it protect you if you crash? That's going to be a thing. There's some safety issues that still needs to be lined out, but at least they are the first competitor. We're going to be looking for some more competitors later. So we have a long, right? Long process coming forward. So in terms of what is next after Who is Flying Now? Well, if you've noticed that they, in their racer, they are going to do unmanned to begin. So it's almost like oversized drone racing, if you could think of it. And oversized drone racing, especially DRL, Drone Racing League, they're doing a lot of stuff in gaming, right? A lot of their races for the past year, maybe year and a half, have only been online, right? So here we go on a full-scale version, still in virtual. Simulation is what's coming next. A lot of simulation. Here's our simulator, which this is the first version, right? We are updating the version. The next version, look out, coming soon, this coming fall, in which you will be able to fly our vehicle, race our vehicles. And again, a lot of other makers, manufacturers, similar to Airspeeder, similar to Joby, are coming up with their own simulations. Everybody seems to have their own version of a simulation. All of them don't do the same thing. They're all looking at other things. For example, Joby is looking at air taxi, so its simulation is geared along that. DRL is racing. Aluda is racing. Now us, well, it's more so about navigating an urban air environment, right? So consider this is the maximum obstacle. I think the maximum difficulty in a race would be within a city, within buildings all around, obstacles all around, and you got multiple vehicles you got to get around. Now, that's a real race for sure, but there's no way we could do that in real life. So simulation is how we are going to line it out first, figure things out, have pilots work with it, get experience with it, because all of that can be done inside the box so that we can prove out these racing vehicles. We could prove out the racing process. We can prove out the flying and navigating processes within this new industry, right? Or we figure out, like, you know what? Knowing what we know from the simulators and what pilots have done in the simulators, yeah, we probably don't want people flying in between buildings or in cities. Keep the races outside of city limits. Now, we can't say that just yet. We don't know. Simulation is how we learn that. So if you're interested in this industry and want to get more into it, you can't really fly the vehicles just yet. Simulation is your next best bet. Microsoft Flight Simulator has now got a few. eHong is in there. Joby is in there. I think a few other urban air vehicles in there. Try it out, right? It is only as of late, the latest version are now starting to include eVTOLs. There's no races. It's just flying. Just enjoy the experience, right? So you could get Microsoft Flight Simulator, as well as the other simulators, as well as our simulator. But believe more simulators are going to come. Maybe some may be combined into one master simulator to include everybody and all vehicles. That would be awesome. So we could really get a true look at the scale of the urban air mobility industry. So that is what I have today. I believe, we're a bit on time or over time, coming up on 15 minutes here, I'm thinking. So that's what we have. So let's go ahead and finish this out on another fine Fly Friday. It's always good to see you. Look out for us on some really good updates coming next week. A few partnerships have been made. So we have a field to fly. So we got our miniature racing court, our course. We're going to show you next week. So please stay in touch. But until then, stay fly, people. Every Fly Friday, Sharon Cutter Smooth EP Digital, Nanco Aero, Fly Houston 2025. We are the future of space in the making. Thank you. Peace.